What's going on, 302 Birds Nation? Welcome to a very special edition of the Call-In. Today, we have a WWE Superstar Lucha Libre legend, Lince Dorado, fellow Eagles fan. How you doing, sir?
What's up, everybody? It's the 2010-2011 Mr. Puss in Boots, Lucha Lince Dorado, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited that the Birds won the Super Bowl this year. Let's go!
I love it, man. Well, thank you for being here. This is, honestly, I got to say, you're the most high-profile guest we've ever had. So you have the honor of that on the podcast. We appreciate you for coming here, gracing us with your time. But I'm not going to waste any more of it. Let's get right into the questions. So the first question I got for you, I know we talked about it a little bit before the show, being from Camden. How much of that was an influence on your Eagles fandom, and how much of it was just, I know obviously the Eagles, high flying, there's some similarities there. What really made you buy into this fandom?
I mean, I've been an Eagles fan since day one. I remember back when Michael Vick, McNabb, I would be in Oreos in my basement watching games. Even when we had terrible seasons, I didn't care. You know, coming from Camden right over the bridge from Philadelphia, you just had to be a diehard Eagles fan. And also being from South Jersey, people don't understand, being from Jersey, you have two options. You're either a Giants fan if you're from North Jersey, or you're an Eagles fan if you're from South Jersey. But honestly, there's only one team, and that's the Eagles right there, baby. You know, it helped me out when I was younger, staying out of trouble, because I would always be looking forward, especially to the fall and the winter time, for Eagles games to, stay out of the hood, stay out of doing things that I shouldn't be doing. But 30 plus years later, I'm still rocking the Eagles. I'm still that guy that will travel everywhere across the world, especially to the Dallas airport, rocking the Eagles jerseys. I don't care what time of the year. You already know, if you're an Eagles fan, everybody knows that you're an Eagles fan. So that's what I'm bringing.
Well, I want to go back to something you said. I love Camden. We talked about a little bit before the show. My grandma being from Camden, laying cement. People from Camden understand what a work ethic is. Hassan Reddick was somebody that was on this team a little bit ago. Mm-hmm. I liked him. I was a little bit upset when he left. But going back, I mean, obviously that 2022 season that he had was insane. Can you speak to that, about just being an athlete from this area, and especially specifically Camden? Because I think Camden a lot of times is forgotten about when you think about Philly, and you're right, it's right over the bridge.
Yeah, I feel like people from Camden, you have two options. One, you stay in Camden and, there's really no leaving it. My family is a product of that. I'm a product of that. And, we're always given the poop end of the stick, I guess you want to say, to be polite. And we're not always given a lot of chances. So the chances that we are given, or the chances that we take on ourselves, prove that we are, relentless survivors. We work very hard for not only ourselves, but our family, the people that depend on us. And, for me, that's important that I carry that every day, whether it's through work or, parenting. And I just make sure that, my family knows that I come from that product, and I obviously don't want them to go and live the way that I lived growing up. So that's why, obviously I moved, but I don't ever, not forget what I learned from I guess you would say, the hood, or Camden itself. But, ultimately I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't experience that or live like that. So super grateful, super grateful for the opportunities and the person that it's made me today.
And your hard work, I think, is a testament. Obviously, being from Camden, more than anybody, Camden always gets a bad rap, but I think that there's a lot of good that comes out of Camden too, that gets overshadowed by the bad, and that's not fair. But I think you're a testament of hard work and showing that it pays off. I mean, being at the highest level, man, the WWE, you've achieved a lot, and that's kind of where my follow-up question is. You've wrestled for a lot of great companies in your career. Which fans would you say are the best or the loudest, in your opinion?
You ask any wrestling wrestler around the world who's ever been either in WWE, AEW, any of the companies, or even on the independent scene, they'll tell you right now, if you want to make it, it used to be New York, but now it's Philadelphia. If you can make it in Philadelphia, where I started originally, then you can make it anywhere. Philadelphia, man, there's something about the fans, the city, the expectation that the people demand from any form of entertainment or sports league or sports team. And you got to be kind of crazy in order to take a booking or to play against any Philadelphia team, because we're the team that booed Santa, so
Yeah.
no one is safe.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone who wants to get in the wrestling scene locally, what would it be, and where would you say is a good place to start?
Sure. I mean, we'll answer the second question. That's probably the easiest. Where's a good place to start learning how to wrestle in Philadelphia? You have two really, really good options, honestly, in my opinion. One, you have the original Monster Factory in Paulsboro, New Jersey, right over the bridge as well. This place has, cultivated superstar after superstar after superstar who's who in professional wrestling, all the way from the 80s up to, current day. And then you have another place called Catch Point Wrestling, which is owned by a former WWE wrestler and / trainer. So he kind of it's kind of a cheat code, where you can just go and learn the style of, WWE and the style of professional wrestling in general. But the biggest advice I would definitely have would be two things. One, stop comparing. Right, your lifestyle and trajectory is going to be totally different than somebody else's, so don't compare. And then number two, be relentless. The answer is always going to be no, unless you do what it's supposed to do in order to get the results that you want. Just you're never going to tell me no. I'm going to fail on my own. I'm not going to fail because somebody else failed and projected that on me. That's just not going to happen.
I love that. That's so Philly. And Albert Einstein has a quote. I'm dyslexic as hell, so I can't even read, bro. No, I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, he says, I failed my way to success. And that quote is such a great point about when you fail, you're not really failing if you're learning and if you keep going. And I definitely think you show that. And coming back to the WWE after 4 years, can you explain what that was like? How did that feel, man?
Yeah, I mean, I should have been here 2 years ago. I actually was in talk with them to come back 2 years ago without giving too much information. I am back now as of February, or technically January, but February we'll say was started as both a wrestler and a trainer. They've given and entrusted me to train the next superstars of tomorrow at the highest point, WWE. So I'm very fortunate that I found my calling, because I used to be a math teacher myself, so teaching's always been in my blood. So now teaching, obviously I like math, but obviously teaching something that I love, wrestling, pro wrestling, kind of helps me find my calling, rather than just oh man, I just want to wrestle forever. Right? Well, some people want to wrestle forever, and don't get me wrong, I do, but realistically, and I'm a realistic person, my body's not going to allow me to, so I need a different avenue. So that's why I always try to better myself or find a skill in wrestling that's going to keep me in wrestling, whether it's making gear or outfits, making masks, training people, consulting.
What really brought me to you was that Eagles mask. That thing is by far the best Eagles mask I've ever seen. It definitely tops Jason Kelsey's. Did you make that yourself, and would you be able to show us and tell us a little bit about it?
I did make this mask. I've always wanted to make a mask for Eagles season. Earlier this year, I made a pair of sneakers, green and white and black sneakers, kind of off the jersey colors. And those were awesome, but I was like, man, that's not enough. I feel, and this was at the very beginning, I'm talking about preseason. I was I feel like this is our year. What if we make it? I would love to have a mask ready for the Super Bowl just to have. And I knew it, again, I put it out there. I really do believe in manifestation. Whatever you put out there really does come back. And I put out there, this is our year. This is our year. I know it. Everybody that, I could tell, I told, whether they liked it or not. And right before, I think they were playing Washington in the playoffs. And I was like, oh, we're making this. I knew instantly after watching all the outlets saying, actually not even saying anything about the Eagles. They kept putting over Kansas City and this other team and Lions. And I'm like, are we watching the same game, guys? You keep saying this team is broken. You keep saying this team is not performing, but you guys are like not. It's all because of the Jalen Hurts hate. That's honestly why. But anyway, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a fire mask, and I'm actually waiting for one of the Super Bowl logos so I could actually put it like a patch. I actually got a patch ordered
Wow.
because I was gonna make one, but I was like, man, an official patch would be sick. So yeah, I made one. I like using sequence, as you can see, it does stand out a little bit more. I think a lot of people think like, oh, it's more expensive, but it's just like fancier. I like the way it looks. So I took my mask, which is this one here, and I didn't want to necessarily just make it green, white, and black. I wanted to add some Eagles influence. So on one side, as you can see, I put the logo, and this is all sewn. Boom, there we go.
That is gorgeous.
You know, it's all sewn.
Your creativity, man, is unmatched.
That's real leather. The silver that I used, real leather that I bought in California about a year ago, that it was just sitting in my thing, and I was like, man, I need to know what I want. And then on the other side, I did something a little bit different, a little bit like more obscure, because I did the whole mask, and then I put this faceplate here, which I thought was pretty cool. So like, kind of looks like that, even with the eyes being covered, it looks really cool. Behind it, I have my logo. So I kept it as true to me as possible. And then finally on the back, I did put the, you know, you had to put the EAGLES on that.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
So yeah, got my little tag there, my logo. Everything that I make always has my logo on there. And then yeah, I've had many people ask about it. I have many people like offer me stuff, but that mask is not leaving my collection, man. I really enjoy it. And it's the mask that I made during their Super Bowl run, which to me is priceless at this point.
If you could say one thing to all Philadelphia Eagle WWE fans in the area on your way out and before this 2025-2026 season, what would it be?
Fly, Luchas, fly. But let's go for another one. Repeat, baby.
Woo! Go
Yes,
Birds.
Yes,
Thank you for being here, Lince Dorado. I sincerely appreciate you and wish you all the best of luck, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for having me. Let's go. EAGLES Eagles.
Yes, Eagles!